Everybody give it up for my brother Prosper, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. We want to welcome you to New Vision International Ministries. My name is Dexter Upshaw. They call me Pastor Dexter, and I have the privilege and honor of serving as the senior pastor here at New Vision International Ministries. And we want to say welcome to you. For those of you who are here physically on campus, welcome to our campus, welcome to our home. To those who are watching online via YouTube and Facebook, thank you so much for tuning in for what has become just about an annual occurrence. We come together to talk about the importance of home ownership, and this is part of New Vision's strategic effort to empower our community. In fact, we're in the midst of a series called Money Management Month, and so we've been talking about home economics. We've talked about everything from savings and budgeting and spending within our means, and now we're dealing with wealth building, what it means to save for investments, to think about the future, things like estate planning and asset acquisition. So it is wonderful that we have this home ownership workshop right in the middle of our series as we focus on empowering the community. There's much conversation about what the church is or isn't doing within urban communities. There are good churches and bad churches, just like there are good banks and bad banks. We're connected with a good bank today, Union Savings Bank. We've got some good real estate agents today, some good loan officers today, some good credit repair specialists today. But we really do aim to exemplify what it means to equip and to empower. So this workshop is for you. And I want to say thank you to Beth, who has been our catalyst behind the scenes to organize and to pull this thing together. And here at New Vision, we are honored to host this once again and to have this wonderful panel of people. So I'm going to hand it over to Beth. But before that, if you don't mind, as we do, it's custom here, we're going to stand, we're just going to pray and ask the Lord to bless this event and bless our finances, that we'll be able to operate in wisdom, especially in times like this. Let us pray. Oh, holy and great God, we thank you so much for this opportunity to come together, not simply for worship, but for wisdom. We thank you for the power of the collective. We thank you for friends across this community who have come to empower us and equip us with life-changing information. Father, I thank you for every panelist on this stage. I thank you for who they are, the work that they do for the greater good of our community and our region. We thank you for this church and what it represents. We thank you for Union Savings Bank and their willingness to partner with us to bring this information, not just here, but across the world through this broadcast. We pray that your presence would be here in the midst of very difficult economic times. We are encouraged and we have hope. And as we educate ourselves, we ask for your wisdom to be superimposed over all the information that we get so we can understand the times and know exactly what to do. I thank you for every person here, whether they're at the beginning of their journey towards home ownership or if they are down the road and they're looking to do it again. May your grace be present. Jesus, we thank you for what you represent in our community. And we thank you for the salvation that comes through knowing you. And we thank you for the wisdom that is a wonderful byproduct of being in relationship with the Holy God. Let your presence be here. Help us walk out of here encouraged, equipped, wiser than we were when we arrived. And may you be glorified in this panel. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right, you guys may be seated. I want to welcome to the stage Beth. She's small, but don't let that fool you. This is a dynamite person, dynamite personality. As she's going to be our moderator for today. Okay, thank you, Beth.
Mic is over there.
Which one? There you go. Here we go. All right, mics.
Oh.
There you go.
Well, good afternoon. Thank you, Pastor Dexter, and thank you to all my volunteers, Paula Moody and the audio Shamir and her partner over there. Thank you, thank you. I thank all of you for being here today, despite the beautiful weather. It feels like summer, doesn't it? I was going to say happy spring, but I guess it's happy summer. Anyway, we welcome you to this home ownership workshop. Our goal today is actually to provide you valuable insights into which hopefully will answer your questions, hopefully most of your questions. We would like to equip you with the knowledge needed to navigate home ownership, which is very difficult. We have a lineup of very good speakers today, and they are a wealth of information which they would like to share with you. and give you the opportunities and products that are out there available during these times. Times are changing since we started this. I think it's since 2021 we've been doing this, or 2022. So every year things have changed. Um, can we go back the slide? I'd like to do a housekeeping. Make sure you sign in, because that is where we're going to draw the raffle at the end of the presentations. So you need to be present for that raffle. Forward. One more. Okay, this is me. So when you go to Union Savings Bank, please make sure you look for me. So this reason is because any of you that actually have loans or applications, it will be credited to New Vision Ministry, in International Ministry. And, personally, I would actually, give them credit as well. So please, look for me, okay? Not anybody else, me. Okay, let's flip to the list of speakers. And also, I just wanted to tell you, I can't stress enough that it's not a waste of time to apply, even if you're not looking to buy a house today, maybe 6 months from now, maybe a year from now. I have been working with some of the clients I met here for almost 2 years, and they couldn't be more excited because they're just about ready to be buying their first house. It took them a year and a half. So apply. There is no shame or harm to submit an application, even if it results in a declination or decline. Because why? Because it's actually making you or helping you understand the steps you need to take to be ready for that purchase. So I encourage you to call me up, hit that apply button, go directly to me and apply, and then allow us to work with you and guide you to through this process. So now to our speakers, we have, well, that's me, Stephen Roberts. He is our credit specialist. We have Roxana and Jackie Alves from Housing Development Fund. We have Doris Latorre and right over here, and Beverly Hoppy from Bridgeport Neighborhood Trust. And we have Attorney Brucker, who has been the ministry's attorney since, I think, 1999. He's old. He's here. He's not speaking because we'd like the nice guests to actually impart their knowledge and their programs to you. He will be here to answer your legal questions. Let's flip. And we have wonderful realtors. We have Io Haynes, Matthew Langston, and Vera Maximin. Did I pronounce that right? So with that, let's actually dive in to the presentation. And I'd like to introduce who Union Savings Bank is. We're actually 159 years old. Our mission is really dedicated to helping the community, and I truly believe that. Our focus is unparalleled customer service. We have the financial strength and stability. They are a community bank. What I like about them is that things get done faster. There is no red tape or bureaucracy that you have to play with. So you'll know right away what needs to get done, and when they say this needs to get done and you follow it, then they follow through and they keep their promise. It's an environment of inclusion and diversity of our employees. Oops, maybe I shouldn't be saying that. Finance mortgage loans in Connecticut and New York. The previous bank that I had didn't do New York. We are doing New York. But in the Putnam, Dutchess, and Westchester counties only. The mission statement, I'll just let you read it. I don't need to repeat it. Let's flip. What I'd like to do is to tell you the steps of home buying. Attending a home buyer workshop, this is one of it. Both HDF and BNT also offers different classes. I encourage you to sign up for those, the pre-qualification process. The highlighted ones are the ones we're going to touch today, because otherwise it's a very long workshop. Mortgage process, the housing search, purchase and sales contract, property condition or home inspection, the mortgage processing and underwriting, and the closing. Let's flip. So what I'd like to actually give you are the products that I'd like to discuss here. Union Savings Bank has an array of different products. So it's not like we're going to say we don't have those products, but right now what we'd like to focus is the first-time home buyer. We have the Home Possible, which is a Freddie Mac first-time home buyer, the HDF, which Roxana and Jackie will be talking about, and Chafa. We do both the TTO and the 3% down. Investment property financing, we probably are the only bank that's actually still doing investment financing. A lot of banks are thinking that these loans are high risk. We still have it, and we actually have very competitive rates for them. And second home financing, this is something I'd like to highlight because the second home and vacation home does not have any interest rate change. It's actually fixed, just equal to a primary residence. That's a big thing. And the ITIN loans, which is new, those are people, if you know any of them, the ITIN loans are those who have no social security number and they have tax ID. We are doing them with very, very low rates. Not as low as the 30-year of 6.25, but probably in 6.5 or 6.625. Most ITIN loans are charging 8%, 9%. Some realtors here can know that. Silvano de la Cruz is a realtor who's there in the back taking pictures. Let's flip. So the first-time home buyer is anybody that has not owned a house for 3 years. Let's just make that clear. Next. And the program options for first-time home buyers, we also have our own, which is the Union Savings Bank first-time home buyer. And we're repeating it. We have the conventional 5% down, the 3% CHAFA, the HDF that goes to 100 and 105. And the CHAFA TTO goes to 105% as well. We can flip. So we have the no PMI first-time home buyer program with 10%, 10.1 down. You have no PMI and you have discounted rates and loan amounts up to 540. And they're thinking of increasing that because prices of homes seem to be going up and up and up. We have no income limits because a lot of these down payment assistance programs, CHAFA, HDF, they have income limits and no sales price limits. So the investment loans, we're very competitive. I don't really want to repeat it. Our rates are very, very competitive. And also what I like about them is really a make sense, common sense underwriting. And we have exception underwriting. It has to make sense and they will exempt. Flip. Okay, the ITIN loans, this is what we're trying to promote right now. It can be for 1 to 4 units, purchase rate and term, minimum down payment, only in Connecticut. We don't do ITIN loans in New York. Gift funds are allowed and reserves for investment properties 4 months. Okay? So what is pre-qualification and why is it important? And with this, I will actually hand you to Matthew, who will talk about the pre-qualification process.
Thank you, Beth. How is everybody doing today? So again, I'm Matthew Langston with Rising Legacy Realty, and I'm the managing broker and owner. You can flip to the next slide. All right, so there is really 3 different qualifications that you can get in going for a mortgage. The first one is a pre-qualification. The next one is really a kind of a soft pre-approval. And then there's one that is a full pre-approval, which means that you have gone through the full underwriting and you're only missing address, appraisal, and potential title search before you can close on that property. Can you go to the next document, the next slide? It should have the, yes. So when you talk to a mortgage professional like Beth, first thing she's gonna do is she's gonna take your social security number, your income, and ask you to send some documents like pay stubs, tax return. So she can, with that information, she can give you kind of a general what you can shop for. That's a pre-qualification. The next one, she can ask for, which is a light pre-approval. She can ask you for a few other documents and really get in and narrow that number down for you. When you get into a full pre-approval, she's going to ask you all the documentation, take you through underwriting, and that is going to give you your hard number. It's almost like you're a cash buyer. In this market, I would recommend you go through the whole underwriting. It's going to be a little stressful because Beth is going to call you up maybe every 2-3 days and ask you, hey, we need another bank statement. You missed a page on your tax returns. So it's really going to be full underwriting. But at the end of it, you're going to be able to, when you go look out, excuse me, look at a home, you're going to be able to tell when you place that offer, hey, I can close in 14 to 21 days because you've already gone through the underwriting. They've already cleared up all your conditions. Again, you only need the address to the property, appraisal, and title search. And if you choose to do an inspection. Let's see. So with that, I think the next thing is, why would you want to actually go through this? Some agents will take you out, have you look at some homes, and then you find a home, and this is where the disappointment can happen if you don't go through this process. You find a home, and you say, hey, I'm ready to go through the mortgage process, and unfortunately, you don't qualify for that particular home. So now you then have to, you got your dream set on this house, and now you can't purchase it because you didn't go through that process first. So what I would recommend is that you find out your numbers first, and then that way you can narrow your search down based on what you can afford, and now you're able to go after the homes that you qualify for and give you the best opportunity to achieve that property. That's the mortgage process.
Thank you, Matthew. Yes, I actually reinforce with all of my clients, and that's why I said apply, let's work with you, that you really shouldn't be talking to a realtor right away because you're wasting their precious time and breaking your heart because you might not be able to afford the house that you really want. Work and get ready to get your application, what we call loan closing ready, okay? So again, it's me you're going to look for. I'll be willing to work with you guys, especially the first-time home buyers. Like I said, the longest one, there are members of your community. I've been working with them for 2 years, and like I said, they're about to buy their first house, and they are elated. Let's flip. I'm going to breeze through this because I think Stephen has a very interesting presentation in HDF and also Vera and Beverly and IO. So I just want you to understand the income types. And each income type, we need different kinds of information, okay? So salaried, self-employed, alimony, retirement, dividends, asset, and asset depletion. Yes, our bank that will do asset depletion, but you have to be, I think, 60 and over for us to use your assets as income, okay? The DTI, they're gonna go over this. It's actually basically your recurring monthly debt over your income. That's how you get it. We flip. And the asset documentation, we accept gifts, depends on the program you're going to apply for, checking, savings, stock, mutual fund, retirement, down payment assistance, which is CHAFA, HDF, Smart Move, and other stuff, and closing costs and prepaid credit from the seller. Okay? And the LTV, you have, I just want to let you understand what loan to value is. It's the amount of your loan against the value of the property. And what you need to remember is, for example, you enter into a sale and it's $500,000 purchase price, but the appraisal comes in at $450,000. Guess what? We're not using the 500. We're using the 450. So that means to say you have to borrow less and you have to have more down payment if that's what you're doing, or walk away from that deal. Let's flip. So I'd like for you to understand the cost of mortgage insurance, home and mortgage rates. The higher the risk, the lower your credit score, the higher your fees and rates will be. Just keep that in mind. Let's flip. That should be electronic disclosures, not loan commitment. My bad. Most of the documents are electronically sent securely. We send you an encrypted email so you can send your personal information and documents securely. Please do not take picture images because most of the underwriters don't accept it. I have to convert that into a PDF. Please don't send it via text because it's not really safe. You don't want your identity to be stolen. Send it PDF through encrypted email electronically. You also will sign your disclosures to make things faster, to close in 15 to 21 or 30 days. Instead of you coming to the bank and sign, we send this to you electronically and you will sign it electronically. And again, community banks are great and Union Savings Bank is great because everything is under one roof. I just walk 2 steps and I'm with my boss. I'm asking for an exception. We walk 3 steps and we're with the head underwriter who grants the exception. So it's all under one roof, whereas if you go to the bigger banks, maybe their underwriting is in Ohio and the other boss is in New York, and so it takes a little bit longer. So I don't really want to go through the loan process because I had that slide, right, where we had all the steps of doing a loan, so we can flip. And I will hand this now to Stephen Roberts on credit.
All right. Is this on? All right, cool. Good afternoon. You guys feeling great? This is a lot of amazing information, but it's a lot of information. So feel free to ask questions as we go along, or more importantly at the end, and just understand you have an amazing team here. Everybody is here to help you get where you need to go. And as Beth said, doesn't matter if you're on the first stage of your journey, in the middle, at the end, there's always stuff that can be done. And one of the first things to be done is looking at your credit. Now, I like to make this a little interactive. Who here has heard of Credit Karma? Does anybody use it? Please stop that immediately, okay? Credit Karma is completely not an accurate source of information in terms of the scores that they give you and the data. Okay, next slide, please. Perfect. There you go. So don't use any of these free websites. I pick on Credit Karma, but CreditWise or FreeCreditReport.com or any of them. There's literally only 2 websites to go to get your accurate information. The first is called AnnualCreditReport.com, which is completely free to use, does not count as an inquiry, does not hurt your score in any way, shape, or form, and it gives you all your data from Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. What it doesn't give you are your scores. Now, in order to get your scores, we need to understand the banks don't care about what your credit scores are. What do they care about? Your FICO scores. Thank you very much. Gold star for whoever said that. Not only do we need to know our FICO scores, but we need to know the specific version of our FICO scores. Because I guarantee some of you are thinking, okay, Steve, you know what? I've heard of credit scores. I've heard of these things called FICO scores, but I got it covered because it's on my bank statement or it's on my credit card statement. Have we ever seen that? You open up Discover Card or your bank statement. Oh, here's your FICO score. Well, is that the same score that the lender uses? Who thinks yes? Who thinks no? Who has no idea? It's not. And the reason being is because all lenders for the past 25 years have only used the FICO Classic score. So when they give you those scores on that credit card statement or the bank statement, that's a FICO score version 8, version 9, or version 10. So FICO keeps building new versions. They keep passing those out to the public, but again, that's not what the lenders are going to be using, okay? And, oh, sorry, go back real quick. I just want to point this out. Just myfico.com is the website you would go to if you're not ready to have the lender pull credit, which there's nothing wrong with working with Beth and having her pull credit, see if you're ready to get pre-qualified yet. But say you're not at that point and you want to just make sure you're on the right path, myfico.com is literally the only website you should ever use to track and monitor your credit. It does not count as an inquiry, does not hurt your score. Anytime you look at your own score, it's not going to hurt it. But the caveat is you do have to pay for it, and the cost to do that is $30. Sound good? Okay, there we go. Yeah, one-time fee. Well, so you sign up for the quarterly monitoring, you pay the $30, and as soon as you have your report, you cancel it. Because if you do the one-time purchase, it costs $60. So I'm saving you money already. All right, so next page, please. Okay, so these are our 5 components. I could spend the next 3 hours going into all of these. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to take about 5 minutes and talk to you about the things that I see on a consistent basis where people come to me with, oh, well, I just did this, and why did it hurt my credit? So the first thing to understand, one individual late payment on your credit can drop your score 50 to 100 points. Let me say that again. One individual late payment, let's say you have a credit card, and something happens, you forget about it, auto pay failed, whatever it is, that one late payment can drop your score 50 to 100 points, and it can stay on there now for up to 7 years. When I tell people that, they're like, whoa, wait, what? And they're completely blown away that one little mistake, after building credit for 10 years and working your way up, one mistake within 30 days can drop your score so significantly. And I'm not here to defend the system. I think the system stinks, quite honestly, okay, the whole FICO scoring system. But I was trained by one of the guys that helped build it, John Holzheimer, in the year 2000, and he basically said, well, this is what we set it up to be, that if you have any of those mishaps, then unfortunately you're going to be stuck with it for a while. So my first part of that is start monitoring your credit and make sure things look good. People always ask me, well, Steve, when should I look at my credit? Now, today. But I don't want to buy a house for 2 years. I don't care, today. Because if you have amazing credit, great, you can sleep great at night. If you have not so good credit or you need to start building credit, that process can take anywhere from 6 to 12 to 24 months. So looking at it today is going to put you in the best spot possible. Make sense? Perfect. The next thing I want to talk about are charge-off accounts. Do we know what a charge-off account is? A charge-off account is if you have that credit card and you stop paying it, okay? After 30 days, you get a late payment. 30 days later, you get a 60-day late payment. 30 days after that, 90 days, 120, 150, 180 days, right? So after 6 months of not paying that account, it goes from a late payment account into a charge-off status. Charge-off status does not mean you do not have to pay the debt. I've had so many clients recently, for some reason this spring, that call me that say, well, I don't need to worry about these charge-offs because it's charged off, I don't have to worry about having to pay it. Doesn't work like that. The debt is still very much owed, and if it doesn't get paid, what are they going to do with it? They're going to kick it to a collection company. And when the collection company now gets it, they hit your credit report again, and now you're going to have your scores drop even more. Well, what happens if the collection company wants the money and they're not getting paid? What do they do with it? An attorney. They give it to an attorney, they get a judgment against you, and that's when they can freeze bank accounts or garnish wages. Here's a real-life example. This happened in September of 23. I had a client that came to me. We reviewed her credit report. She had one charge-off on there with Chase Bank for $4,000. And I said, listen, let's go in there, represent you as a power of attorney. Let's get this thing settled before it gets worse. Well, I don't know. I'll get back to you. Disappeared. Ready for this? 3 months later, I'll never forget it. On December 15th, I get a call, a text, and an email, all within the same 5 minutes. She is freaking out because her HR department just walked into her office, handed her a letter. They're now garnishing her paycheck. It took them 3 months to go from an open charge-off into an executed wage garnishment. And it's all because she just didn't want to take care of it. My point to that is, if there's things on your credit report, please address them. Even if you don't have the funds to handle it yet, at least have an open dialogue so things don't get worse. And when you are ready to address them, here's a couple key things. Number one, never ever put yourself into a payment plan. I have so many clients that say, well, I owe $1,000, but I don't have that money to settle it. I'll just pay them $100 a month for the next 10 months. No, do not do that. Take the next 3 to 6 months, save up the money, then we'll do the one-time settlement. Number two, when you have to pay off these accounts and we attain a settlement letter for that one-time payment, we never, ever, ever give out debit card, credit card, or checking account information. Okay? Again, real life story. I had a lady that came to me after the fact, unfortunately. She had a collection for Verizon, and they were calling her. Finally, she's like, she owed $1,000. This collection company says, you got to pay us. She goes, fine, but I'm not going to pay you the full thing. I'll give you $600. Here's my debit card. Leave me alone. Okay? She thinks she's okay. Ready for this? 3 months later, a completely different collection company calls and says, hi, we're calling you about your Verizon debt. What does she say? Oh, so you're verifying it was your account? Thank you very much. Click. They use that as verification. They went into the debit card she paid the first company because they bought that data, pulled out another $1,000. Completely illegal, by the way. But the collection companies out there, I'll tell you after doing this for 18 years, they're really shady. And you do not want them to have your personal financial information. So you have to make sure you're protecting yourself. How do you pay it? Money order or certified bank check only. No debit card, credit card, or checking account. Does this all make sense? Perfect. Again, I'm sprinting through this. There's a lot more information. And by the way, all of you should have picked up my flyer at the front. If you didn't, when you came in, please get it on your way out, and you can certainly reach out. Debt utilization, I'm going to talk about that. Then I'm going to talk about some upcoming changes and wrap this up. I think I have just enough time. Debt utilization means how much money do I owe versus my credit limits. So when you have a credit card with a $1,000 limit and you owe $900 on it, you're at 90% utilization, and that's going to be hurting your scores. So you have to make sure that you're maintaining balances on a much lower level, maybe 10, 15, 20% of what you owe. And my blanket statement, although it's not always feasible, is I don't care if you have a $300 limit or a $3,000 limit. I really only want you putting $10, $20, $30, $40 on that credit card every month, waiting for the bill to come in the mail, and then paying it in full. Your utilization nice and low. Those credit cards. I have so many clients that come to me and say, that company, they did close the card. No. Closing credit cards can negatively impact your credit significantly. Think of it this way, right? Let's say you have a credit card here with a $1,000 limit. Credit card here with a $1,000 limit. This one has a $1,000 balance. This one has a zero balance. What is our utilization percentage right now? 50%. Not terrible, right? Well, what happens for this card that you haven't used or you decide to close it and now all of a sudden that goes away? We're at 100% utilization, and what just happened to our scores? Significantly dropping the scores simply by having an account closed. Okay? So don't let that type of thing happen. All right. The other things, bottom line is, don't constantly open up new accounts, and anytime you apply for something, that inquiry is going to be hurting your score. The one cool part I will say is that with auto loans and with mortgages, you do have a 30-day window to shop around. So let's say you went to an auto dealership and you're trying to buy a new car, and they shopped you to 5 different banks, and then you went to a different one, and they shopped you another 3 or 4 or 5 banks, and by the end of the month, you have 22 inquiries from these different banks. As long as they're all within the world of auto, it only counts as one inquiry. Make sense? Perfect. All right, next page, please, and I'm going to wrap this up. I just want to make a point to what's about to happen, and the reason I'm telling you about what's about to happen now, even though it's in the future, somewhere in December of 25, as of now, I think they're going to be pushing it out to December of 26, is because of something known as trending data. Has anybody ever heard of trending data yet? Okay. Trending data is looking at not what your credit scores look like now, or sorry, credit utilization looks like now, meaning you look at your credit card and you see you have a high balance, you pay it down, you wait 30 days, your score can go up 50 to 100 points. That's the current model. In the new model, that's not going to fly anymore. Why? Because trending data says, I really don't care what's going on right now. I want to know, how have you been using your credit cards over the past 24 months? Now, if this goes live in December of 26, which I think it's probably more along the lines of when it's going to happen, that means how you pay your credit card this month is going to dictate what your score looks like 2 years from now. So that's why it's so important to change those habits and make sure that you have that lower utilization. So number one, it's helping you now, but number two, it's going to help you in the future when trending data goes live. Does all this make sense? Perfect. Again, grab my flyer, reach out. I offer a free consultation to review your credit report individually by using what website? myfico.com, right? No Credit Karma. We good? Awesome. Thank you.
Wasn't he great? So anyway, if you apply, we do not charge for your application or pulling your credit. And again, as he said, it takes sometimes 2 years to get your credit fixed. So I really encourage you to apply now. So I'm going to expect a lot of you to call me up and I will walk you through the application process. The next speakers would be HDF.
Hi, everybody. How you doing? I'm Roxana Jubilus. I'm the director of the counseling department at the Housing Development Fund, but I'm also a HUD certified counselor, and I still do counseling. So I want to explain a little bit to you about what we do at HDF, who we are, and what we do, all right? So HDF is a non-for-profit organization, but we are a private organization. Oftentimes, clients think we're the part of the housing authority or part of the government, but we're not. We're a private entity, a non-for-profit organization, also a CDFI, and we were established in 1990. We provide counseling, education, down payment assistance, closing cost assistance, and also we do landlord training classes and pre-purchase education classes. The criteria for our programs to use our programs for down payment and closing cost assistance has certain requirements. And the requirements are that you have to be a first-time home buyer, meaning that you have never owned a home, or if you own a home, if you sold the property and in the past 3 years you didn't own a home, that is still considered a first-time home buyer. You also have to meet the income eligibility criteria. Now, keep in mind that for our programs, we count the household income. Everyone in the household who is going to live in the property who is 18 years or older. So we have to count the household income, not just the one who's going to be the applicant and co-applicant, but the household income. And right there you can see the income limits. Yes, we have a question? Yes. If you want to buy a co-op, you mean? Well, no, unfortunately, you wouldn't be eligible for our programs. If you own a co-op, a condo, yes. Now, if you are looking to buy a co-op as well, our programs, unfortunately, you can only buy a condo, a single-family house, or a multi-family house, meaning 2 to 4 units. Okay, so even if you are want to purchase a co-op, our programs are not, actually you cannot buy a co-op with our down payment and closing cost assistance. No, because you already own a home. Mm-hmm. Now, if you sell the home and you wait 3 years, then you will be eligible. Okay? So those are the income limits. So for Fairfield County, the household income is $146,500. Litchfield County, $105,400. Norwich, New London, $105,900. Middlesex County, $123,800. New Haven County, $116,200. Hartford County, $123,800. Windham County, $114,100. And Talon, $123,800. Now, those income limits changes every year. It is about to change in July. Usually that's the timing that between June and July, we get the new income limits, right? Also, you must be a U.S. citizen, U.S. resident, or have an approved visa. Like if you have, for instance, DACA, refugees, also qualify, or asylum. Okay. Now, the counseling is the first step. When you are looking to apply for HDF programs, the first step is the counseling, the homeownership counseling. And we ask for a lot of documentation. Why? Because we want to look at your finances. We want to look at your debt. We want to look at your savings, your credit, to see if you are mortgage ready, but also to see if you qualify for the programs. So we ask you for a lot of information, and we'll ask that you provide that information. You can either go to our website, and when you go to our website, which is hdfconnects.org, you're going to go to the right corner where it says login, and then right there you are going to enter your information, and that's how you set up a portal account. For the ones of you who don't feel comfortable uploading documentation, you can either send it by fax or you can go to our office. We are located at 100 Prospect Street in Stanford, so you can go there any Monday through Fridays, 9 to 5, and we'll give you an intake form for you to fill out if you don't feel comfortable doing on our website. But you can create a portal account, you can upload the documents, and you can purchase your credit report. We do require that you buy a credit report, but if you pick the HBD counseling report, it doesn't hurt your score because it's a soft inquiry. And that is for us, for the counselors, to see what is your financial situation. Maybe there might be a past due collection, a past due account, a charge off a collection that we may be able to tell you, you may benefit from paying off this account because then your score might go up. And then if you want a conventional loan, a CHAFA loan, then you might be able to maybe focus first on your credit. So that's the reason we pull a credit report. And we ask for pay stubs, sources of income, whether it's your pay stub, maybe it's a pension, maybe Social Security, disability, any income that you have for you and your household, you need to submit that so we can verify whether or not you meet the income criteria. We also ask for tax returns, federal tax returns for the past 3 years with the W-2s, copy of your ID, that you fill out an intake form, and also that you pay for the credit report so that way we can pull a credit report for you. All right, if we can go to the next slide. And what we do with that information, why we want to see all of that, why the counselors ask for all of that. And the reason we do that is because we want to determine whether or not you are eligible for our down payment and closing cost assistance. Also, we want to see if you are mortgage ready, to see if you're ready to go to the bank to get pre-approved. Because if you're not ready, we're going to be giving you an action plan, and we'll tell you exactly what is it that you need to do so that you can become mortgage ready. Also, we set up an appointment with you. After we look at everything, we do the assessment, we do the financial analysis, we'll contact you and we'll tell you, we already did the assessment, and usually it takes about 15 business days to do the assessment once you submit the paperwork. And then we'll tell you whether or not, what are the next steps. We'll give you an action plan. Maybe your next step is to go to the bank and get pre-approved, but maybe your next step is to save a little bit more for expenses that we can help you with. Because even though we can provide down payment and closing cost assistance, there will be expenses that you need to pay out of pocket, like an inspection, appraisal. You need to put at least 1% down payment. 1 year of homeowners insurance, and that you need to have for that money, because we cannot lend you for that, and the bank won't be able to lend you for that, so you need to have that money in place. And once we have the appointment, we'll follow up with you within 60 days. We'll tell you, we're gonna follow up whether or not you're doing your action plan, maybe you had questions, or maybe life happens. Sometimes things happen. I have clients that we give them their action plan, and then something happened in their life that they have the savings in place, but maybe they had to use it. And when I called them, they said, you know what? I'm not ready yet because I spent that money. I need to build my savings again. But we are there to help you, to answer your questions, to make sure that you are following that action plan so that eventually the dream of buying your home becomes a reality. Now, what it means to be mortgage ready? So, mortgage ready means, I know Beth have been talking about this, it's about whether or not you have the means to pay the mortgage, right? What is your employment history? If your income is because you have you work, that you have at least 2 years of a stable employment. Also, your credit history. Also ratios, and I'm just going to mention this because I know Beth will be talking about that. Ratios, assets, you will be here about those terms. But also ratios, the ratios determine how much you can afford. So we look, when we are doing the counseling session, we're letting you know, just to give you an idea how much you could afford. It's not a pre-approval, it's just to give you an idea. And how do we know that? Because of the ratios. The ratios means that whatever your income is and your debt, there is a certain percentage of that, and that the banks will be looking at whether or not you can afford, let's say, a 200,000 property, or a 300,000, or a 400,000. So ratios are very important. And how do you determine that? By your income and your debt. Also the assets. How much assets means that whether or not, in this case, for us, means that whether or not you have a savings, whether or not you could be a CD, maybe you have a savings account, checking account. Sometimes people have cash. And sometimes I tell clients, if you have cash at home, the bank is not going to look at that because it has to be in the bank in order for the bank to count that you have that money. So oftentimes we ask those questions as a counselors. We ask, what is the financial situation of the client? What are their assets? What are the ratios? What is employment history? And the assessment is just that, looking at your financial situation. We do a financial analysis. We look at your debt, your income, your savings, and that's how we do the action plan. Based on your finances based on the documentation that you submitted, we look at your finances and we develop an action plan, and we give you that action plan. And then we also recommend that you take the classes. The classes are pre-purchase education classes, which are 7 hours. We offer them via Zoom, so you can join those classes. We list our classes on our website. We also have landlord training education classes, and our website is hdfconnects.org. Right there you will see what it says education, counseling and education. You will see the list of classes. We offer them in English and Spanish. And also CHAFA offers those classes as well. So at HDF, we have 2 components, counseling and lending. And here I present you our director of the lending department at HDF.
Thank you. Hi. My name is Jackie Alves. I'm the director of lending with HDF. As Roxana mentioned in the beginning, we have 2 parts to our company. So we are a HUD certified counseling agency that will take you through all the steps of home ownership, like Roxana explained, and they'll explain the process to you and see if you are mortgage ready. The main thing I want you to take away from this is that there are options. And so homeownership is feasible. There's options for everyone out there. And I'm gonna go over some of the lending options that we have for you to help you get to homeownership. So we have a couple of different programs within HDF that can be what we call layered or stacked. So you may be eligible for more than one program. We would then take the eligibility to make sure that you are receiving the most financing at the lowest cost to you as possible. I'm gonna go through the programs and just give you some of the eligibility criteria on each one, just to show you how we can work together and get you to homeownership. So the first one I'm gonna go through is our Smart Move program. This is available in both Connecticut and New York. This program, we give you up to 25% of the purchase price towards down payment and closing costs. So you've heard a lot about down payment. There's different programs that require different down payments. As Beth mentioned, there's ones that range from 3%, 5%, 10%, depending upon credit, depending upon how much assets you have, what you're purchasing, things like that. All of our programs require only 1% in. So if you're only putting 1% in, what does that mean? It would mean that you would need private mortgage insurance that Beth touched on. Private mortgage insurance helps the bank and protects them if you default on your mortgage. So if you don't make your mortgage payments, it protects the bank. It's no benefit to you other than you get to put down a lower down payment. What our program does is gives you that 20%. This way you're not paying that private mortgage insurance. So instead you're paying a second mortgage to us at a 3% interest rate over 20 years. So depending upon your credit score, it could be lower than what your PMI payment would be. But on top of that, it's allowing you to build equity in your home and pay off your home quicker. Also, some of those funds can be used towards closing costs if you so choose, in which case you're bringing less to the closing table and retaining all of that savings that you worked so hard for. There is a monthly payment on this loan, so you're gonna make 2 payments each month. One to the first lender, one to us, the second lender. You can switch, flip. The second program we have is our Live Where You Work program. This program's special because it is up to $25,000 at a 0% interest. So you're not paying any interest on this, which I know seems crazy in this time. It is a loan though, so please remember that. You do have to pay it back. You can pay it back at the end of 30 years when you pay off the first mortgage, if you sell the home or you refinance the home. This loan is up to $25,000 and can be used for down payment and closing cost assistance as well. It can be used in conjunction with our other programs as well. So you can continue to layer that to get the most financing at the lowest interest rate. In order to be eligible for this, you do have to purchase in the city or town where you currently work. It could be a full-time position or a part-time position. If it's a part-time position, you have to have been there for at least 1 year in order to be eligible. And if there's 2 people on the mortgage, only one of you has to work in that city or town. Yeah. It depends on what type of self-employment it is. If the self-employment is something that is within the community where you're not traveling for it or whatever it might be, you may be eligible, but there's different criteria for it. Change the next one. So another program that we currently have is our HDF Homeownership Equity Fund. This is another program that is at 0% interest. Same deal, it is a loan, not a grant, so you do have to pay it back at the end of 30 years. If you transfer the title or if you refinance, this is up to $20,000, can also be used for down payment and closing costs. And for this one, either the borrower or the co-borrower must identify as Hispanic or Latino, Asian, American Indian, or Alaska Native, Black or African American, Native Hawaiian, or other Pacific Islander. This program, essentially, I keep referring to it as layering, which is stacking your funds. If you're eligible for this program and Live Where You Work, you're essentially getting $45,000 at 0 interest. So that is not adding to your monthly payment, allowing you to increase your purchase price. Roxana went over a lot of these, but I just want to point out what our criteria is. And again, our counseling does the eligibility for you, so they would let you know up front. But as a reminder, you do have to be within the income limits. You do have to go through our counseling program first before you can apply to our lending program. This does have to be owner occupied. So the home that you're purchasing, you do have to live in. We don't finance investment properties or second homes. And then the other thing I want to talk about is that we did talk a lot about reserves and requirements. While we only require you to have 1% into the transaction, we still want to make sure that you have some money after closing. So we do make sure that you do have at least 2 to 4 months of reserves. You can go to the next one. We talked about guidelines in the beginning. These are suggestions, and this again is something that your lender and the counselor will go over with you. You can go to the next one. And then the last program I want to go over, this one's a little different. It's a new program. This is our CT Forever Home program. This is for down payment assistance only, so no closing costs. It's up to $28,000. It is at a 1% interest rate over 30 years. So you are making a monthly payment on this one as well. The caveat to this one is that you do have to deed restrict the property. So for the first 10 years, for a 10-year period, there's deed restriction on the property, which means if you sell it within the first 10 years, you do have to sell it at a lower rate, which is a resale price that we come up with, and that keeps it affordable for the next borrower. In year 11, that drops off, and you can sell the home at market rate. But for the first 10 years, you do have a deed restriction on it. You can go to the next one. It's the same eligibility. You do have to be a first-time home buyer. You have to be within the income limits. You do have to live in the home, go through counseling and our education courses. And you do still have the 1% minimum contribution. And with all of our loans, we have a property inspection requirement. So some people want to waive their property inspection. We don't allow that. We require you to have a property inspection because we want to make sure that you are safe in your home when you do purchase. So I know we gave you a lot of information. Where do I start? What do I do? What we do with this is we're a two-step process. So once you've gone through counseling, you have your eligibility, you go see Beth, you get your pre-approval, you speak with one of your realtor, they bring you to a home and you have an accepted offer. Then you come see me. So you're gonna go back to your counselor, they're gonna give you a list of all the documentation that you need, more of what Roxana went over and what Beth went over. There's a lot of documents involved, so make sure you have 2 copies of everything. Just make sure that you are organized as you go through. Once we have all of your documents, we fully go through our own processing, underwriting, closing. So just because the bank is doing their part, remember, we still have to do our part, so we'll be in contact with you as well. Once we approve your loan, you'll get a commitment. Your loan commitment will have a bunch of conditions on it. Everybody's does, don't get scared. It just means that you need to get this paperwork in before they can clear your file for closing. Once you get your clear for close, we work with the bank as well as your attorney to make sure that you get to your closing date on time. So while it's 2 different processes going along at the same time, we work with our partner lenders closely to make sure that we get you to your closing date on time. I think that's it.
It actually works. It sounds a little complicated, but it works because, you know, we partner together and work behind the scene and talk to each other. So, again, housekeeping, those of you who walked in late, please make sure you signed in because that's where we're going to get the raffle winners for the door prize. Next is Beverly.
Thank you.
Oh, by the way, I have known Beverly we're old.
She is. No,
40 years.
would you like Doris to say a few words before I start? I know you have to leave. Say a few words. I know you have another appointment. She's my boss, so you know.
Thank you, everybody. I'm Doris Latorre. I'm the CEO of Bridgeport Neighborhood Trust. We are a housing counseling agency and a housing developer. And Beverly is going to speak to you about our program. One of the highlights is Bridgeport's our backyard, so we are very experienced in providing housing counseling in Bridgeport. We are a HUD-approved agency, and we administer the down payment assistance program for the city of Bridgeport, which a lot of people don't know that it exists, but the city of Bridgeport has $25,000 that they give for down payment assistance, and Beverly will talk to you about that, how you can take advantage of it. Thank you.
Thanks, Doris. She just stole my thunder. I was going to talk about that.
Before Beverly speaks, you know, there are flyers out there. They have the grants or the programs that are available to you. So please take one of them, whatever you decide is going to work for you.
Thank you, Beth. Everyone can hear me okay? Yeah, okay, great. Thanks again for inviting me and Doris. I've known this young lady for over 30 years, like she said, during my she's so good with the details, 36 years. I was only 10 at the time, but I was too. That was during my former career at People's Bank, right?
Just so that you know, we actually worked, she was with People's Bank, and we did Bridgeport Economic Development, you know, together.
I think I was running a women's business center at the time or something. Oh my goodness, such memories. But anyway, thanks for coming, and I see some familiar faces, and I'm hearing an echo. Should I switch? Everyone can hear me okay? I'm hearing an echo. Okay. So I think it's Pat and Sharon. Haven't seen those young ladies in ages, so wonderful. Thanks for having me. I have about 8 minutes remaining, I think, or maybe actually more time. So you did. Oh, great. Okay.
I shortened my talk.
I teach a 6-hour class. How can I talk for 10 minutes, right? There you go. All right, so like Doris said, we, like HDF, we are a HUD housing counseling agency, but we do a lot more than that. And we're right here in Bridgeport, domiciled in Bridgeport. We've been around since '86. So it's next year will be 30 years. Who knew? We're on State Street, 570 State Street, so feel free to stop by anytime. Come in the door, mention my name or Doris, and you'll get a warm welcome. Okay. I just want to emphasize our mission, which we're hyper-focused on, especially today, in today's economy. Our mission primarily is with the funds and the grants and the programs we run. We strive to work with our collaborative partners to end housing insecurity and income inequality and homelessness by creating safe, affordable housing and providing comprehensive financial and housing counseling services. A lot of information, up-to-date information on our website. So make sure you check it out, guys. The packages I left up front also has my business card stapled to it, and I have some cards with me. If you have any follow-up questions, grab a card, call me next week, we can chat. Our core programs, the Empowerment Resource Academy, the City of Bridgeport Down Payment Assistance Program that Doris mentioned, affordable housing development, and then a fairly recent one funded by CHAFA, our financial coaching program. I'm passionate about education. Both my parents were teachers. They're since moved on, and I feel I honor them because I love seeing the light going on as I teach the classes, because I am the education director, so I teach most of the classes, but I'm also a certified housing counselor. Now, the City of Bridgeport Down Payment Assistance Program that Doris mentioned, just to reiterate, we don't have all the lovely money that Jackie and Roxanne and HDF does, but we're collaborative partners. We refer clients to them when we've determined, or my counselors have determined they're mortgage ready. In fact, there's a couple of my clients that your counselors and mortgage underwriters are working right now. That's how we work collaboratively, and together are able to help our clients access their goals of home ownership. Okay? The City of Bridgeport program is not just for current residents, but obviously you have to be buying in Bridgeport. If you decide to apply for it, you have to be a first-time home buyer or not have owned in the past 3 years. Minimum score, 620. There are also income restrictions, and it's for low to moderate income households in Bridgeport. But here's the funny thing. A household that has maybe, I want to say 6 people, that income cap is $116. Can you imagine that? That's considered low to moderate income. But those are federal guidelines. And how do I know that? Because I'm processing about 6 applications right now as we speak for folks that are looking to purchase in Bridgeport. They already have their first mortgage approval. And one of them, it's 5 children and their mom and dad. So, thank God their income is below that threshold, because they certainly could use $25,000, and it doesn't have to be repaid. The caveat is, of course, you have to live there at least 10 years, but a portion of that $25,000 is forgiven on an annual basis, and most people will probably stay in that house, maybe 10 years or so on. If not, then, a portion of it would have to be paid back, and then the rest is really converted into a grant. All right? So the affordable housing development, I'm not here to talk about that because I'm all about educating people and helping them, address any issues they may have in terms of barriers to homeownership. And the next couple of slides we'll see what I mean. But I do want to give props to the fact that since 2015, we've invested over $45 million in affordable housing development projects throughout Bridgeport that has 230 units, and that was over, I think, 450 families. And then we sold off most of them, but we are now getting back into the affordable housing development arena again. Most of the people in those units, their income is below 30% of AMI. They're young moms, single moms, they're seniors, they're veterans that were formerly homeless. And we know there's a huge need for that, but that's not a conversation. Okay, so we just got funding to get back into building affordable housing. That takes a lot of money, millions of dollars, and it could be years, but we're happy to be able to say we're now doing it. The next slide, please. Okay, now this is what we do in the Empowerment Resource Center. We have certified counselors. There's 4 of us, including me. But my focus primarily is running the program, operational management, teaching the classes, and most of the classes that we teach are based on the CHAFA curriculum. We get funding from Connecticut Housing Finance Authority, but not all of them. We also work with business partners like Union Savings, one of our newest partners. We're looking to do some similar sessions going forward. But these are the core topics that the classes cover. And guys, all the resources we offer are free. There's no hidden agenda. Because sometimes I talk to a lot of people, they call us or whatnot. They're like, well, what's the cost? It is absolutely free. We're a nonprofit. Our thing is this information is so valuable, nobody should be constrained to having to pay, all right? So the classes include financial fitness and credit, rental counseling. We also do reverse mortgage counseling, but that's on a one-on-one basis. There's a lot of pre-purchase classes I teach, similar to HDF. I do 2 a month, sometimes 3, our most popular one. We also have foreclosure prevention counseling classes. And then the landlord-tenant class, which is for folks that are thinking of buying a multifamily. A lot of those in Bridgeport are in the communities we serve. By the way, we serve the entire state of Connecticut. Even though we're in Bridgeport, it's not a Bridgeport-centric thing. We service the entire state of Connecticut. And you're like, well, how do we do that? Because right now we're meeting people where they are, especially since COVID. So a lot of what we deliver is however you choose. But 90% of our clients, it's on Zoom, all right? Or it could be a phone session, or it could be face-to-face. And I love when the clients come in the door to see the counselors or to see me, however you choose, all right? So these are just the core classes. Next slide. All right, and this gives you a little bit more information, details on what it's about. But the important thing to understand is that you're in a special place, guys. Those of you that are first-time home buyers, because those are the clients primarily in the pre-purchase track that we focus on. Although, obviously, if you want to just fix your credit, you want to learn about credit rebuilding strategies, maybe rental, counseling, your rights, land responsibilities, you want to know about leases, any rental assistance programs out there, that's open to everyone. But on the pre-purchase track, those are primarily, obviously, first-time home buyers or people that haven't purchased in the past 3 years. Foreclosure speaks for itself. These are clients that own a home, but now they need to know what their home retention or loss mitigation options are. They're in danger of losing their homes. They're scared, they're upset, they're nervous. So everything you see here, guys, in terms of the classes we offer, which run monthly, like I said, but some of them, the demand is so large, I will add an additional class. I can do that since I run the program. It's important that people access the resources that you have here, HDF, that we offer, because sometimes people don't. They're immobilized maybe with fear, they're gonna lose their home, oh my goodness. And next thing you know, there's something, or there's programs out there they could have taken advantage of, but it's too late. Okay, next slide. All right. I just wanted, as I'm getting towards the end of my brief presentation, to talk about why this is so important. We are equal opportunity. We don't refer you to any one particular lender or realtor attorney. Of course, we work with the entire arena of professionals. But when clients are ready to buy and my counselors are sitting with them, well, who do you want to, oh, I've heard about HDF, great, let's refer you there. Oh, I worked with, I'm with a particular bank or what have you. We give them options and then help them navigate that process. Because sometimes the fear is fear itself. Many of them may be mortgage ready, but it's such an overwhelming process. Or they heard there might be some down payment grants. Yes, they are. A lot of grants. We haven't even touched in the half of it. So that's how we work to help them access those community programs. There's a lot of flexible guidelines when I'm working with clients, teaching the classes. Oh, I need 20%, I need 10% to put down. No, you don't. I need a 700 score. No, you don't. There's programs out there. 600 minimum score, 620, 580. Our role is to do an intake to assess where the client is at, meet them there, and then help them overcome those barriers so that they can come out with whatever that goal is eventually. Some of them, it might just take one counseling session with my counselors. Others, it could be 4 or 5 sessions. I'm working with clients now that have been in and out of our program for 4 or 5 years. Now they're finally ready to buy. And that's a beautiful thing, when we're able to help them get there. Okay, so as you can see, guys, all our services are free. And I already told you how it's delivered, so I'll get to the next slide, if you don't mind. And this is how you can reach us. Call the general number, call me. You have my card in the takeaways out front. Our website, you can also sign up for classes as well as coaching sessions, but just call me. But our website is www.bntweb.org. Years ago, it used to be Bridgeport Neighborhood Trust, and then we morphed it into Building Neighborhoods Together because people thought that our services were just limited to Bridgeport or Bridgeport residences. And I just want to reiterate, we service the entire state of Connecticut. So let's see what else is there. I think that's it. Let's see the next slide. And there you go. I'm at the end. All right.
Thanks, Beverly.
You're welcome.
So isn't like you're going to college? I mean, takes 2 years to get mortgage ready, purchase ready. So again, I stress it very strongly that you need to start now, even if you're going to buy a year or two. Also, many of these grants or down payment assistance before you close require you to actually attend a counseling, education, the pre-purchase education counseling that BNT and HDF actually offers. Our next speaker is Vera, who's going to talk about the market conditions.
Hi, everybody, and thank you for being here and showing up today. I see some familiar faces, but one thing I want to say is that I don't want to see you here again next year. It's time for us to start what? Taking action, right? I want everybody today to either get what you got lovely realtors here, you got credit people here, and you got mortgage people here. I could go on and on and on with presentations after presentations, but if you don't take action, right? Well, pastors teaching us this, right? Faith without works is dead. If we do not take action with all of this information that we're getting, you're going to be here the next year, and I'm going to see you next year, and you're not. You understand what I'm saying? Okay, I'm going to start with the state of the economy, state of what's going on, and why I would say we probably got the next 5 years to really pivot, because there's a lot of things going on in our country. We can see many things that are changing rapidly. Every day things are changing. Our new administration is doing some stuff and shaking up some things. And sorry, Pastor. Thank you. And our new administration is shaking up some things, and we don't know if these programs or what's going to happen, how can it affect. So now is the time that we have to take steps to secure our future and to secure our families, okay? So next slide, please. So of course, we have banks closings, we have higher interest rates, and that brings me to say this. The higher interest rates, when you were here last year, this time it was lower, right? It was 2 point, right. So you see the opportunity that it was 2 point something the first year she did. Now we're at 6 point something, more than 6. Do you see the opportunity that you've missed? Do you see that? We're just in 2 years. Now, how does that affect, how does that affect you? So you have a person that was qualified.
Well, you will buy less house. Right. And the problem you have is the houses actually are going up and up. They're ridiculously priced right now. So you have high interest rates, and because of lack of inventory, the prices of homes are ridiculously high.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. So if you had a person that was qualified at a 2.5% interest
625, okay, you probably could buy a $500,000 house.
And today you would be able to buy
$250,000.
Half.
Probably even less. And that's why we lack inventory. It's a lot of these people who bought homes with 2.625 or 3% rates. They want to upsize their house, but they realize if they get the mortgage, the same amount, let's say $200,000, and they're paying $1,000 a month, because the rates have gone up 3 times, they're going to triple their mortgage payments, right? So it's less money that you can actually, it's like the value of, if you made $20,000 in 1950, that's like making 200,000 right now. Well, in this 2-year period, you've actually devaluated what you can afford.
Yes.
So like I said, I expect all of you to call me and start an application, even if it's 2 years, and I can lead you on to the speakers that are here right now.
Next slide. Okay. This was scary. Oh my God, when I read this. But 2053. Look at what this says. A report that came out saying that we would basically have no wealth. Black people, Latinos is next. Like we would have zero. If we don't change the trajectory right now and start buying right now and start doing something right now, what is going to happen what is going to happen with our children? And by 2030, AI is taking over the job. I mean, and I think that has a lot to do with what's going on with this new administration now and why they're cutting back a lot of the fat and eliminating a lot of these positions and stuff like this, because I think there's already ramping up that AI and they're beginning to really start implementing this. But of course, there's still opportunities, right? So if we pivot, if we take heed to what has been preaching, all of the messages, right? And I'm very thankful because we have a ministry that teaches empowerment. We have a man of God that teaches us to do and to take action, that is constantly pouring into us. This ministry is not like other churches. They provide the tools, the resources, the education, the knowledge for us to be equipped so when we get out there that we can do something, right? Amen? Amen. So, okay, yes, 40% of the jobs, okay? 40% of the jobs are going to be taken over by AI. So if we don't pivot, now is the time. Now is the time. I don't want to see you guys here next year at the next presentation. Now is the time. It doesn't hurt for you to just make an appointment. You start with Beth. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. If your credit has a little bling around, don't let that stop you. Because as she said, there's programs here with scores of 600. And then you have a credit gentleman here that's willing to consult with you for, do you charge anything for your consultant? No, free. Free. So there's no reason why everybody here should not stop and see one of these two people today. Email them when you get home. Set an appointment to 15 minutes of their time on Monday morning and start the process now. Okay? Amen? Amen. We talked about that. Next slide. Yes. So how can you survive in this? How can we challenge ourselves? We have to pivot. Another thing, too, a lot is going on. I was on the phone yesterday with one of my asset managers, and he was saying that the banks are inundated. There's like a tsunami of foreclosures that are people that are behind on their mortgages. So listen, but that's an opportunity, right? And I hope if you know anybody that are behind, that happens to confide in you, that they are behind, you can point them here to B&T, to Beverly. They help. And also the agency HDF, as well as myself. And then also, if you know of anybody's in trouble with them, maybe you can work out, so you got to be creative. Maybe you can work out something where you can buy that home. So either way, you got to get qualified. You got to check your status of where you're at. Because if you don't, guys, what's going to happen in another 5 years, 10 years? Now is the time that we have to invest and invest wisely and start frivolously spending our money, get our houses in order. All the messages that pastor's preaching. It's time for us to act now. Thank you. My name is Vera Maximin. I provide a lot of this content for free on my IG. So if you have any questions, I'm available. And thank you for coming out today. And I hope today will be the beginning of your start in home ownership. Thank you.
Imagine maybe next year or 2 years from now, you'll have AI robots here. Right? Are you sure you're not AI? Anyway, our next speaker is Ayo. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. So I'm taking notes over there. I hope you are too, because I learn something all the time. And thank you, Vera, for giving us that snapshot of what's going on. And she's 100% on the mark with what's going on. And home buying is a way to buy wealth and to have generational wealth. So I want to know, show of hands, how many people have seen any of the real estate shows? Right? They're fun, right? Yeah. I was on one of the first ones out of New York. It was called Selling New York. It's staged. You're not going to find your house in 30 minutes, just to let you know, right? It's going to take some work. You're going to have to talk to Beth. You're going to have to talk to your credit person. You're going to have to talk to a real estate person. It's a lot of work, but it's worth it. And so I am a licensed broker in New York and Connecticut, and you can go to the next slide. Thank you. We're talking about why a great agent matters in navigating the home buying journey, right? You need expert guidance. You can do it yourself. Yes, you can. But I think as a first-time homeowner or buyer, you need to have the expert guidance of an agent who has taken courses, right? So we up here, Matthew, myself, and Vera, I'm licensed in New York. I had to take 77 hours of study to pass my board, right? Connecticut, it's 60 hours, and New York requires 22 and a half continuing ed courses throughout every 2 years, Connecticut, 12. We are not flying by the seat of our pants. We are studying a lot about the industry, and so that we can help you and have you buy something that you love and that's going to increase in value over time, and that's where you're going to find your wealth. It's that equity from the place that you purchased the house to where it's valued in the market. That's called equity, and you want to build equity. And so working with an expert realtor is going to help you do that, find that perfect apartment or house, condo or co-op to do that. And you're going to save time with us because we have resources that you don't have access to. We have our MLS, various types of programs out there that are beyond Zillow. Zillow's great, but it is not the be-all, end-all. It is somewhat generated. It's as good as the information going into it, but we have at least 3 to 4 different mechanisms that we can use to find you the perfect place. And you want access to those resources. You can go to the next slide, thank you. And you want access to our knowledge. So 19 years of doing business. This is actually my anniversary month. Thank you. I've seen the market go up, down, and sideways, and I'm still here. And what Vera said, right, you can take the steps now. You don't have to be here again next year, right? No matter what's going on in the market, there's enough resources out here for you to find the right fit product to help you buy what you need to buy. And just a quick thing, I don't know if you know the difference between co-op, condo, and a house, right? A co-op is what they call, it's not real property. You own a share of something. And there are a few co-ops in the Bridgeport area. Mostly they're condos. Condos are considered real property, and a home, of course, is considered real property, right? You can actually sell that. A co-op, you only own a percentage of 100%. So you have apartments in one building. Each apartment is given a percentage of that 100%, and that's what you own, right? You don't have a lot of freedom with co-ops that you have with condos and houses. So you want your broker to talk to you about where you want to live. Is it going to be close to your home? Do you have a lifestyle preference? Do you want condo amenities? Do you have a budget that you need to stay within? You know, a lot of us, especially when we're looking at these TV shows, we're like, oh yes, I want a pool, I want a doorman, I want this, I want that, right? We call that champagne taste on a beer budget, right? So we have to be realistic about what we can afford right now And then later, in our second, third investment property, even we can go higher than what we can afford right now. And you can go to the next slide. And we're gonna help you work through how many bedrooms you need, how many bathrooms. Do you need everything on your list in order to be happy? But if you have a list of 12 things, can I get you to 8 things? And you say, yes, I'm satisfied with this. And it's finding the right fit, and it's interviewing and evaluating potential agents. And I'm gonna be honest, we interview you as well. Are you serious? Are you coachable? Are you able to take the information that we are giving you and run with it? So many people, even today I was texting with a client, and I invited him to this. He couldn't make it, but I had given him the name of a broker before. I said, did you reach out to them? He said, oh, I forgot. Right. We're going to be coaching you and reminding you, but you have to take this on as if it's your job, right? It is your job to help you find you the right place. So be really aware of that. Just as you would show up at work and you have your paperwork ready or applying for a job, it's the same thing. Start getting organized. Start putting your papers in a way, in a format, so that it's easily, you can recall it very quickly. So if Beth says, I still need your 1099 or your W-2, you can just go right into your computer, send it to her in seconds, right? And that brings me to another thing. I think Beth was the one that said, I can't help you until you have a pre-approval, right? We can have an idea based on your salary, what you can afford, but you might have assets that I don't know about that will bring your number up higher. Job in finding you that perfect house if I don't know the price point to search within. So really start with getting that pre-approval. And you wanna, when you're interviewing an agent, you wanna check their credentials, check their testimonials, see what other properties they have sold that are similar to what you want. You can go to the next slide. And that takes me to the understanding the buyer's agreement, right? And you and I and any agent you work with will have an agreement in place, and it has to be in place before I even show you the first property. And it has, in that agreement, we will agree about what you're going to pay if the seller is not going to compensate me at the level that I would like to be compensated. For instance, if a house that we are going to see, the seller is paying 5%, that is going to be split on each side, and that brings us to 2.5%. But I, as a rule, work with clients who pay 3%. I'm going to talk to you about paying the difference in that 2.5% and 3%. And I have to talk to you about it before each place that we go and see, in each house. So you're aware, because you might say, no, I'm not willing to pay that difference. And if that's the case, we have another conversation. Okay, and then we're going to be conducting showings for you. We're going to be interacting with the other agent, making sure that we can get in, that we can utilize our experience to help negotiate and use and maybe have a more of a place that we can take the listing, or I should say, we can have more of a chance to win that offer when it comes down to it being 50 other offers out there. And there are some places that are seeing crazy numbers of offers, right? You want your agent to be able to weed through the noise and get to the front of the line. Next slide. And so open communication is key, and we have to set expectations and establish our rhythm. How do you like to be contacted? Do you want to be only emailed, texting? Texting is now so much a part of the process, and it can be in a court of law. If there was something that was in dispute, your text will count as communication. So we have to say, are we only including the wife until the husband comes in, or vice versa? Who's the decision maker? So these are all of the type of things that we want to make sure we have already established and talked about. You can go to the next slide. And that we're open for feedback on both sides. Do you want to be contacted first thing in the morning with a text from my MLS system? Or do you want it every day or once a week? All of these things come into play because we want you to leverage our expertise with our market insights, with negotiation strategies and problem solving. You can go to the next slide. Because the person who has the experience with negotiations and putting together a creative deal, perhaps you don't have the huge down payment that the seller is looking for, but you have other assets or other strengths that we can utilize to get you in front of the line of other offers. And we're going to build a long-term relationship, right? It's not one and done. Hopefully this is your first home, but then you're going to buy your second home or even an investment property. And I'm a firm believer, if you have children, you should get in the mindset of buying one house per child. It sounds crazy, but it is doable. But then you give them the opportunity to become a homeowner and work with you to build up their own financial legacy so that when they become 18 or 21, they have the opportunity to be an owner of that home and make a decision about that, and they have money coming in every month. That is what people don't tell you that they're doing, right? Other communities are doing that. So if you can start now and buy your first home, that's your home. Sometimes it doesn't even have to be, your first purchase doesn't even have to be the home that you're going to live in, right? It could just be that home that's going to bridge the gap for what you have now and what you want later. And then you'll use that income that's coming in monthly to further your other goals. Next slide. And that's me. So I say that my real estate goals are, your real estate goals are my priority. And I believe that Vera and Matthew are the same. We have other realtors here. Rochelle is here as part of our community as well. And you can scan the QR code. Hopefully it's not too small, my business card. And then you can go search on my real estate site. If you're interested in a career in real estate, I'm happy to talk to you too. It is a wonderful way to make a living and to build wealth in that way as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Ayo. Pastor Dexter, it's a Q&A, but did everybody sign? Yes? No, everybody signed, right? Okay. Thank you. Shall we draw now or should we do a Q&A? Let's do the Q&A first.
We just asked that if you have a question for the Q&A, that you come and step up to the mic. We'll develop a queue right in this middle aisle here. So if you have a question, just step up soon because the workshop is almost over. I know we have so many bashful, shy people. Come on up. And just step up directly to the mic.
I'm loud enough because I'm in the front, but I asked a question originally. I bought my co-op back in 2011. I paid cash, and I'm interested in moving forward from the co-op and getting something, as you mentioned. You know, when I bought it, I wasn't as educated in understanding the shares and all the different things that go on with the co-op. So I've overgrown the co-op. I'm ready to move on. So my question to you is, this is a first-time home buyers program. I bought my co-op cash. I did not take a loan. Do I qualify for your program?
For HDF, unfortunately, you wouldn't, but that doesn't mean that you cannot buy a home, okay? Maybe you cannot use our programs, but that shouldn't discourage you from buying your second home.
Do I qualify for any of your grants?
Well, with HDF, no. I don't know if you buy in Bridgeport, will you be eligible
BNT?
for the city?
Do I qualify for any of your BNT grants?
There are some grants. Turn it on.
Thanks, Rick. Well, the only grant program, I'm sorry, what's your name?
Samantha.
Hi, Samantha. The only grant program we administer is the City Bridgeport Down Payment Assistance Program, but it pretty much follows the standard underwriting guidelines. So whether you bought it cash, there's no mortgage, you're in the title, that's home ownership, you wouldn't qualify for the city's program per se, but there are certain banks, I can't speak
Yeah,
to
Union Savings Banks.
They may have money where that would not
Well,
be
it's-
an issue.
We don't know, it's mostly the down payment assistance and grants are for first-time home buyers, okay? But there are, if you're buying in a targeted area, some of the programs are available to you with discounted rates.
Yeah.
So that's the best you can get. But the benefits that you get as a first-time home buyer, as like Roxana said, maybe you can wait 3 years and buy again, and you can qualify for the grants, whatever is
But why would I
available.
wait 3 years when I don't have a mortgage? Why would I wait the 3 years?
No. She suggested that it makes you, again, a first-time home buyer. But the benefits that you can get right now, if your credit is good, is actually, if you buy in the targeted area, you can get a low down payment options.
Targeted area meaning a place that needs to be rehabbed, distressed.
Again, I didn't hear you
What's the
quite well.
targeted area, like a distressed area, some things that need to be
It's
rebuilt?
targeted areas. Chafa has targeted areas.
Okay,
They're
I have to go through
they're encouraging people to live in these areas. The problem is it's sometimes very hard. There's some in Norwalk, there's some in Stamford. Bridgeport has a lot of targeted areas. But I find that most of my clients don't want to live in the targeted area, or it's sometimes very hard to find a house in the targeted area.
Do you guys help up to a 4-family? I want to buy a 4-family.
Yeah, yeah, we do 4-family. Up to 4-family is residential lending.
Right, I know.
Anything over that becomes
commercial,
commercial,
right.
right? Yes, 4-family. And the nice thing about our bank, and that we do investment property without hitting your rate so much, because some banks don't even want to do that because of what happened during COVID. Remember, stop paying rent. A lot of those people couldn't pay their mortgages. So
I
a
am
lot of them.
self-employed. I have my
You're
own
fine.
business.
Self-employed is fine.
Okay,
We need tax returns for self-employment, right?
okay. I'll let somebody else speak.
Give me a call.
I will. I
We'll
got
do
your
the
information.
application.
Okay.
There is no charge, free advice.
Okay,
Okay?
thank you.
Thank you, Sam.
The definition of a first-time home buyer is not only that you haven't owned a home in the past 3 years, it's also that you haven't received a benefit of owning a home. So if you've written off any real estate taxes, say your spouse owns, but you filed taxes jointly, you've received a benefit from owning a home, so you wouldn't be a first-time home buyer. So just keep that in mind.
No, you own a home, so you're entitled. We find that out. We do a search. Yeah.
I have a question for the gentleman over there. Yes. Excuse me, I forgot your name. But my question is, when you say, when the bank sent you a pre-approval, like you qualify for a home,
Yes.
yeah, they send you that. That's not to be taken seriously, saying?
Offer. So part of reviewing the offer is the contract or offer that you submitted on, that your agent submit the offer on. But part of that review is also your loan qualification. So as as realtors professionals, we know what loan qualifications are serious. And we're going to advise our clients, if we're on the listing side, to say, hey, this qualification is not as strong as this one. So if we see a qualification letter versus a true pre-approval that doesn't have any conditions,
Okay.
we know that that's a stronger offer, if
What
that
ab-
makes sense.
What about if it's sent from a bank, though? I mean, don't the bank?
It's from any lender.
Any lender, right?
From any lender, we're gonna know a qualification letter is not as strong as a true pre-approval. Because the qualification, you still have to go through underwriting, which means that there are things that could come up that you don't qualify versus somebody that took the time to go through the process already. They're stronger. That means They've already did the pre-work, and now they get ready to close. So that's a stronger offer. It's about, the loan process is about positioning yourself the strongest way you can in order to win that property, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
My gentleman over there, the credit card. When you get like a credit score, and you said all those credit card credit score that you get it's not real. You got to go to I think you give us a website to check it out. Right. I mean, are we supposed to? Right, right. It's not going to be the same score that the lender uses. Okay, but why is that? And is that legal? Are they legally qualified to give you that kind of false information?
Well, no, because the score they're giving you is a FICO score. Okay. It's just a different version of your FICO score compared to what lenders use. So it's not that it's a fictitious score in the sense of it's not a real number. It's just not a number that the lenders use. Because all lenders use FICO Classic, and any of these third-party websites can give you FICO version 8, FICO version 9,
So
FICO version 10. So it's a different version compared to what the lenders see.
Okay.
And just so you guys understand, that disparity can be 40 to 80 points in terms of a difference. You could be like, oh, my credit card statement says I'm at a 688.
Right.
Now Beth pulls credit and you're really at a 625.
That's why I'm asking if it's legal.
No, yeah, it's legal because.
How could it be?
Well, how is it legal?
How could it be legal if?
Because they're giving you a FICO score.
It's a different product.
And it's just a different product. They're telling you, hey, it's a FICO version 8 score, and the lenders use FICO Classic, so it's legal because they're telling you what they're giving you. It's just not relevant. So it's not that it's legal or illegal. It's just not relevant. So that's why myfico.com is the only legitimate website to use to give you the same information that the lender's going to use. Keep in mind, when you go to myfico.com and you spend the $30 to purchase your report and you first log in, on page number 1, what is it going to give you? FICO version 8.
Okay.
Irrelevant, right? So you have to go to the tab that says lender scores, mortgage scores, here's your FICO Classic. Those are the same numbers the lenders use.
Thank you. My last question.
Can I just add one more thing? If you've ever purchased a car and you go to the financing department and they come back with another score, you're like, well, how did they come with that score?
Yes, you do have
It's a different product. It's completely, each industry will use the FICO score that matters to them. And then building on what Matthew was saying, we cannot put an offer in and expect it to be accepted if you do not have a pre-approval in place. We can take you out, we can show you a house, and if you go, oh, I love it, no realtor on the other side, the listing agent is going to accept your offer without a pre-approval in place. So that's why it's so important to have that before we even start.
My last question is this: on the first hometown buyer. I mean, I used to own a house, but I lost it through divorce and all that. So am I considered a first-time buyer, or should I use that as a second time?
How long has it been?
Excuse me?
How long?
It's been years. I can't even remember.
If it's over 3 years or 3 years and over, yes.
It's over 3 years, yeah.
Yes, you're a first-time home buyer.
All right, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, can I just clarify, banks are not a pre-approval. We use pre-qual right now. We can't really term pre-approval, even if we go through all of these details, because things can change. There's a final decision of an underwriter. You know, the appraisal can come as, and the secret is, I think right now, realtors know, you can go to a website, I'm not going to mention the website, and get a pre-qual off the website. That's not considered a good pre-qualification. So many times we'll get calls from the agent and said, is this guy really, what kind of pre-qualification or pre-approval did you do? Because even somebody that writes this client is pre-approval didn't really look at their documents, okay? So when they interview now the mortgage lender, we say we pulled credit, we looked at his assets, like my bank or the bank before me, or any pre-qualification or pre-approval that I write. I get all your documentation. Sometimes I lose clients because they say, I just want a pre-qual. Well, I can't write a pre-qual if I don't know your credit scores and that. I don't know your income. What am I qualifying? So you go through the proper channel of going through, giving all the right away. I will ask for all the documents from you.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Everybody, thank you.
Hi, everyone. I have a couple of questions. So my first one is for you. So I was always told that checking my my credit score, like daily or monthly, would affect it. Is that true or no? Because
No, not at all. If you're pulling your own credit, it never impacts you. If you're applying for financing, it's going to impact you. But when you do go check it, use the annualcreditreport.com just to check the data, or if you need to see the scores, myfico.com. Those are the only two websites you should ever use. Don't use any of these third-party websites.
okay, I'll get off Credit Karma.
Yes.
Also, probably not benefit me. Okay, so I want to buy land, right? I don't know if you guys work with people who want to do that.
Yes, not all banks will lend to land on land. We do. We lend land loans.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I would like to buy land, build a home, or even like down the road, like build a clinic. But I want to know if it would be more beneficial for me to think about buying a pre-built clinic or even a pre-built home. Now, I want to build a home because I want it to be built custom to me, So would it be more beneficial for me to?
Well, I think the realtors can have also their comment on this one. It really depends on you. I mean, for me, when we lost our house to Sandy, I knew right away I am not going to be building because I can't handle that stress. So you might find a pre-built property that could be your clinic. You shouldn't really, limit your choices. Look at land and look at some properties. What do you think, Vera and Ayo and Matt?
I think if it's going to take you a long time to get to the place of purchasing that land, then that perhaps should be a longer term goal. Because if it keeps you out of the market because you're looking for the land, you're looking for the right place, then you have to have the money to buy the house. That could take you 5 years, where you can start now with a property, build equity, take the equity out of that property to help you buy the land, to buy the clinic and build the clinic and all of that. That's my opinion.
Okay. Thank you.
One more thing. Construction loans, you need reserves. And there are costs that are not covered that will not be lent by the bank. Soft costs like survey, architectural renderings, permits, they have to come from your own pockets.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to have quite a bit of reserves and also quite a bit of income to be able to afford a construction loan.
Okay.
They're available there, but if you're starting, I think, looking for a property that already has something in that can work as a clinic or your house is what I would go for.
Okay. I do plan on utilizing my VA loan if that's possible, but I don't really know in terms of the clinic and stuff what they would cover. But I guess that's for me to do my own research and stuff.
The VA loans, I don't think, are for commercial property. So,
Yeah, that's what
some of the zone, you have to be very careful. So if you're going to buy land, you need to know if the town will allow you to have a commercial property, because once you have a clinic, that's no longer residential.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to find out, okay?
Okay. Thank you. Okay. So if I do plan on buying land, would they require me to provide proof, like right away, of what I plan to do with the property, or it doesn't really
No.
matter? Okay.
Just remember that if you purchase land, it can potentially eliminate your first-time home buyer because you're going to be deeded on, whether it's land or property, you're going to be deeded on something. So you have to be very careful, especially when you're talking about your VA loan or a first-time home buyer. You don't want to lose that your eligibility on purchasing something that is years away.
Okay.
Because you can get 105% financing for first-time home buyer. So once you take
One more
that
time?
out, 105% loan to value, meaning you're borrowing more than the value of the property that
Okay.
you're buying by 5%. So you buy land, you don't qualify for first-time home buyer because there isn't a home. But you've lost the ability to actually utilize the benefits of first-time home buying.
So it sounds like it would be more beneficial for me to buy a home.
Correct.
For you, Bill. Okay.
Just
Let
remember,
me ask you, oh yeah, go ahead.
when she's talking about 105%, that 5% is what we would use to pay your closing costs. So that's a great benefit. And closing costs these days are well over $10,000. So
And also the down payment assistance, like if you're a first-time home buyer, you get time to own. The state gives with the 25,000 right now. It used to be 50,000. It's 25,000. You lose that ability, okay, to get those down payment, like those programs that HDF was enumerating earlier. That Smart Move, Live Where You Work, all of that disappears.
And then when you're looking at land, you ask if you have to tell the town, I'm assuming, that you're talking about, what you're doing. There are zoning laws, so, you may not be able to build a clinic in a residentially zoned area, so you just have to also look at that. But that's where working with an agent who's very well versed on zoning, land use, and all of that is very important. And then as another possible way of getting closing costs taken care of is something called seller's concessions. We haven't
Seller
really talked.
credit, yeah.
talked
No, go ahead.
so it's just another way for you to get money to close from the seller. It's very underutilized, I believe. You think?
Yeah.
I think
I
not enough
mentioned that
people are
earlier,
using-
seller credit is part of the asset. Also land, you cannot do 100% financing. And let me explain to you, I have a client actually, he bought land all the way, beautiful land, raw land. He finds out he can't build because he can't even build the roads.
Oh.
Environmental issues. So you need to actually, if you do that land, you better use a realtor because they're going to tell you there's no wiring, there's no gas lines, it's raw land,
Okay.
You know, actually, yes, sorry. As a counselor, I'm thinking a lot of things right now. And one of them is, do you already own a home right now? No, you don't. And the clinic is for you to live in the clinic and have it as your job too, your self-employment, or both in one, or you were thinking of buying first the
No, I was just
land.
thinking of the clinic just being its own thing. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Because I always tell clients, what is more important for you right now? The business side or
Well, the
owning your own
clinic is more of a down the line type of thing.
home? Okay. All right. Yes. Like, you want to say something?
I was just going to reiterate. They said it sounds like it would be best to purchase your first home, utilizing all of the resources for a first-time home buyer, and piggybacking that equity to further down the road purchase the land to build your business.
Okay. Okay, thank you, everyone.
I believe we have two more, and then I'm going to suggest that we do those two, and each of you are going to be available to answer any more specific questions as well. We're also going to ask that you limit your question, your best question. Load it up and shoot it.
Good afternoon.
I like your T-shirt. You should sell that.
Thank you. We do. I don't know if you'll be able to answer my question. I recently came into a substantial amount of retirement money that unbeknownst to myself, I didn't know it was available to me. So I would really like to buy my first home, but I don't know how it goes as far as taxes and penalties and all that. I'm only 59, so I know some people say to me, well, you have to wait till you're 60 to not deal with so many penalties, so,
Give me a call and hit apply.
okay, definitely.
Yeah,
Okay,
because that's customized. That's a customized advice, and then I can lead you either to HDF or whatever programs are available, and also refer you to a. Do you have a tax accountant?
No.
Okay, so we have our bank actually has wealth management, which is quite large, and they can also advise us the tax implications. So yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for everything that y'all have done. Stephen, so I heard you say something about 10% utilization for your credit cards is like perfect. I was doing that for a while, then bumped it up to a little under 30%. How bad would that affect me? Because I've been building credit for about 2 years now. Something had happened, and I couldn't work. So now I'm like, this coming up November would be 2 years of consistent employment. I did see something that you guys posted up with that, like that's what they look for. So as far as like, credit utilization, should I go back to the 10%? Because I noticed the under 30% and paying them off right away, that bumped my credit score up. But I was also using the bad resources to look at my credit score.
Right.
So what would you suggest to do as of now?
If you can get it down below 10 again, do that. That's
Okay.
going to be better.
Yeah, I was just using it to build credit, not because I needed it.
Right. And I've actually had that conversation many times where I've had people say, well, I have a $1,000 credit card and I want to put $1,000 on it and I'm going to pay it off right away because I get bonus points because I chose I can handle it financially.
Right.
No, there's no bonus points. It doesn't work like that. Ideally, if you have the credit card, and again, the limit could be $300, it could be $3,000, it could be $30,000. If you need a percentage, sure, under 10. But I really say like $50 on each card. That's it. Put like $50, $60 on a card, wait for the bill to come in the mail, pay it off. And I understand that's not realistic with everybody. And I know we all got families and we got dentist appointments we got to pay for and all this stuff. And I get that. But optimally, you want to keep that balance as low as possible with the understanding the credit card companies only update the credit bureaus one time per month. Because the other thing I get is, well, yeah, I put $1,000 on it, but it's okay. I paid off in full the day I got the bill, so I'm good. No, you're not. Because as far as the credit bureaus are concerned, you're maxed out for the next 30 days. Because they're not going to update it once you pay it off. Once they send you the bill, whatever that number is, that's what sits at the credit bureaus for the next 30 days. Well, what happens once you pay that off? You spend. Time the next billing cycle comes through, you're at 89% utilization again, it's going to be hurting you. So optimal thing, keep it under 10%, depending on what your limits are, $50, $60 a month. Wait for the bill to come in the mail, pay it off, and that's going to be great. And then in terms of the 2-year thing, that's a qualification side of
Well,
things.
actually, are you a first-time home buyer? Okay. If you're applying for a first-time home buyer grants, you need a 2-year. That's hard. That's a hard number.
But you said that just apply, right? And we
Just
can-
I
and we
would
can work
I
with
would
that?
apply. I would apply now.
Because as of November, this
Yes. What is your
2025
name?
Mario.
It's either that or I'm going to call you Kenneth.
Mario.
Mario,
Yeah.
hit apply. I'm going to look out for you.
Yeah, because as of this November coming up, 2020,
Yeah.
2025, that would be
And actually,
2
you can
years.
start looking. I have had clients that they hit apply beginning of this year. And because of the supply and demand of homes right now, they're just finding the home right now, and it's frustrating. So it can take 6 months to a year. So but you should get your application in already, and we can actually analyze and see what you need to do.
Okay.
Find out the steps, understand the steps to get you mortgage ready. Okay?
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, let's raffle now. You're gonna say there are no. Sam. Not many banks will lend to co-ops, just so that you know that. No, but the bank needs to actually get that co-op approved. And again, there are limited banks that will do co-ops. Okay. Okay, we have 55 people that attended, and the way we're going to do this is Pastor Dexter is going to pick a number in his mind. I have the list. 1 to 55 wins the Fire Stick we'll do the Fire Stick. And please collect your prize with Paula. Paula, are you there? Okay, right there. Oh, 1 to 55.
I have not looked at the list. 1 through 55?
1 to 55. Let me just double check so we don't shortchange anybody. Yep, 1 to 55.
No,
Don't look back.
We got all lists incorporated? Yes, online, all that stuff too?
Yeah,
Whoa, wait. So we have people
only
that...
the ones
Okay, so if
present.
you
There's
came
nobody
in and you
online.
signed
Do we
up-
know how many
okay,
people are
all right,
online?
All right. No, not online. I know there are people who pre-registered, but
Yeah, no.
everybody that's in here is on this list. That's what we're
Right.
saying. Okay, all right,
So
all right.
this is the Fire Stick, Amazon Fire Stick.
Okay.
Can we switch the screen to the? I think it's in the beginning of the presentation, please. So 1 to 55, Pastor Dexter.
36.
So it's going to be the Fire Stick, TV Fire Stick.
The number is 36.
36. Okay.
Okay, so 36 is Lewis, Kimberly Lewis. Kimberly Lewis.
Congratulations. Where's Kimberly Lewis?
Now,
Okay,
the redemption of the prizes, where do they redeem their prizes at?
Huh?
Oh, they're right here.
Paula.
We got them? Okay, so the prize will
Okay,
be delivered
thanks.
to you.
Okay, another one. So shall we kick Pastor Dexter out and have Kimberly pick a number 1 to 55?
Go for it. I have no problem with that.
Yes, pick a number 1 to 55. We don't want the others to be upset with Pastor Dexter. So, Kimberly,
Thank you.
you're
I
now
appreciate
at fault.
that.
Yeah. 1 to 55, please.
Where'd the microphone go? It disappeared? All right, thank you, Matthew. There you
You
go.
can't pick your friend, Kimberly.
$20.
20. 20. Okay, let's see. Can you read the name, please?
Sure. Lawrence, oh, sorry, Megan Lawrence.
Megan, you are winning the Hydro Flask bag. It's insulated. Megan, is Megan here? Oh, there you are. Megan, why don't you pick the next number? No friends. 1 to 55, please. And this is actually a $100 Amazon gift card.
Okay, my favorite number is 6.
6. Okay, let's have Ayo read this.
Nicole, nope. Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay, my eyes jumped. I'm sorry. Mac Allen.
Is that elderly Mac? I beg pardon? Okay, thank you. Okay, so he's gonna pick a number. He wants to pick a number.
52.
52. The last one. 52. Oh, the last one. 52. Here it is.
Or the last one?
Yeah, so let's see. It's over here. 52. Vera, why don't you read it for us? Sure. There.
Aful Monnier, Joné Monnier.
Wow, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Okay, Aful, if you can pick the next number, thank you. Another $100 gift card. Amazon gift card. Another $100 Amazon gift card. Aful, you want to pick a number 1 to 55?
I'll do 27.
27. 27. Okay, Matt, Can you read that? And we have an extra prize. We donated another extra prize. So number 27 will be?
Desiree Waters.
Congratulations. You need to pick another number, please. Now, this is the Fitbit. You need to exercise. 1 to 55.
Number 17.
17. 17. Okay. Jackie, why don't you read number 17?
Alicia Waragu.
Congratulations, Alicia. Now, I donated again another gift because we were expecting a lot of people, and this is actually a bread warmer. So Alicia, can you pick a number from 1 to 55? She said that she never won anything before.
46.
46. I will read this one. Now let's have Beverly read this. Beverly, number 46.
Oh, the name. Okay. Emmanuel Wadlin. Wadlin.
Thank you very much for coming to our workshop. Even if it's nice and summery out there, you're going to enjoy that bread warmer. You know, you can put it under your bed also in the wintertime. That's a sign. By the way, that's a sign. No land. Okay, thank you very much. It's a bread warmer. Yeah, bread. BR like pan, bread. Not a bed warmer. Okay, thank you.
Can we give a round of applause for all of our panelists? Once again, they're going to hang around, so if you have any more specific questions, you can come and approach them. Beth, thank you so much for helping organize this year. Shout out to Paula Moody, who on our end, I know she and Beth had lots of conversations and lots of communication. Thank you so much, Shamir and Imani, for helping us with our audiovisual setup today. And to every single person that helped out in some way, from registration to just helping the campus be ready for this event, we're so grateful for you. Do you mind if I pray and close us out? Lord, I thank you so much for each and every person here. I thank you for the information that we have received in a time where people are struggling. We thank you that this is an oasis of opportunity. We choose to embrace hope, proper planning, wisdom, and discipline, and we believe that it will make the difference. But we don't want to do this apart from you, so we ask for your blessing as we release a benediction from this gathering. We pray for the blessing of sustainability in difficult economic times. We pray for the blessing of pursuit for those who will take the next step and put in applications and seek information, that you would order their steps. We make plans, but you order our steps according to Scripture, and that you would order their steps, dear God, to favorable outcomes that lead them to be able to acknowledge you and help others who are trying to find their way as well. Thank you for this. This I pray in Jesus' name, amen. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, panelists.